Watch a political debate, and you'll hear socialism and communism used interchangeably, as if they mean the exact same thing. Without a precise understanding of the structural differences between these two systems, historical economic failures, and a look at modern nations claiming the communist label. In China, the government maintains a massive, imposing state presence over its citizens and economy. In North Korea, you find a hyper-organized, deeply militarized society built around the absolute authority of a ruling government. This presents a glaring paradox. How can these nations identify as communist when their defining features, massive authoritarian governments, extreme wealth inequality, and elite billionaire classes, directly contradict the actual definition of communism? To solve this, we have to stop treating socialism and communism as competing political options on a menu. Structurally, they operate as a sequential timeline. One is a theoretical destination, and the other is the heavily engineered vehicle built to get us there. Resolving the confusion requires discarding modern political labels, opening up the original theoretical blueprint, and identifying exactly where the mechanism breaks down. The theoretical baseline for this blueprint was drafted in the 19th century by Karl Marx. While Friedrich Engels was a vital co-developer, Marx is widely recognized as the primary architect of an ideology designed entirely to eradicate capitalist exploitation. The absolute core requirement of true Marxist communism is the complete abolition of all private property. This diagram shows the theoretical mechanism. Citizens directly manage production, distributing profits perfectly equitably. Marx argued religion was an unnecessary distraction. Furthermore, with production self-managed, a regulatory state becomes completely obsolete and ceases to exist. True communism is not a form of government. It is a mathematically perfect, stateless society where universal motivation replaces the need for governing authority. But human societies cannot survive a sudden, overnight jump from a competitive capitalist system directly into a stateless utopia. The systemic shock requires an intermediate, controlled buffer phase to restructure the economy and prepare the population. This flowchart illustrates the transitional phase, socialism. It requires a powerful national government to aggressively seize all corporate enterprises, assuming absolute control over prices and wages. However, micro-freedoms remain, allowing citizens to use money and practice religion. In the socialist phase, citizens deliberately trade away their macroeconomic autonomy to a monolithic state, in exchange for the promise that the state will force wealth equalization. The fatal flaw is the sheer volume of power required. Consolidating absolute economic control into the hands of a few officials creates an irresistible bottleneck. The outcome of this massive consolidation is systemic corruption. Ruling governors inevitably hoard the nation's wealth for themselves. This dynamic leads to widespread impoverishment and completely fails to deliver the promised economic equality. Returning to our flowchart, we can see how this corruption creates a permanent roadblock. The state becomes entrenched, ensuring it never dissolves as Marx originally intended. The very mechanism designed to eliminate inequality, the socialist state, actually engineers a far more extreme and rigid power disparity between the rulers and the citizens. The overarching historical reality derived from this analysis is stark. True communism has never actually existed anywhere on Earth. This scorecard maps theoretical communism against the historical reality of the modern examples we examined earlier, like China and North Korea. We can clearly see the contrast. These nations possess massive authoritarian states, wealthy elites, and highly structured societal classes. Because of this, they fail every single structural requirement of true Marxist communism. What these nations actually are stalled socialist states. They attempted the transition, failed to equalize wealth, and became permanently trapped by state corruption. The essential academic takeaway is that communism is the theoretical stateless end goal, while socialism is the state-heavy transitional vehicle. Geopolitically, when modern media labels a country as communist, understand that it is a phantom label. It masks an entrenched, failed socialist regime. The ultimate difference between socialism and communism is the tragic divergence between a perfect utopian destination and the deeply flawed road that proved we could never actually reach it.